Please, Vignesh Surya, Rajesh Kus, and Degree 4. One second, please. What? Yeah. They made up. My goodness. Okay, they are disturbing me too much. Okay, support count students are there?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, 1 second. Rajesh, I sent a link. Please, I'm in class. Okay. Okay, fine. This is the number of times it occurs in the transaction. Whereas support is not like that. Support is how many times out of the whole transaction the particular item sets are occurring. Please listen. Somebody asked me last time what is the difference, and they said from my point of view, I'm saying, I don't remember who is that, but you can see it here. Support count is the number of times it occurs in the transactions. Support is nothing but how many times the 3 item set occurs out of the total number of item set. Here, the total number of item sets are 5. There are 2 times it occurs together in a transaction. That is 2 by 5. This is very important. Now we are going to have an example. With that, we are going to identify the item sets which are occurring frequently. In that, you will understand why we are looking for support count and also support. Frequent item set. The model data, the item set whose support is greater than or equal to the minimum support threshold value. Of course, we need to define how far you want to see this association. Outlier will be there. I don't want to see too much. If the higher level is too much, you may miss something. If the lower level is too much also, the association will go diluted. So you need to balance both the concept hierarchy or the level of generalization. I'm using all the we have used terminology in the previous classes. The generalization or concept hierarchy, to which level this minimum support threshold value, define that. You have to give that minimum support threshold value, and I have defined already what is minimum threshold value and what is minimum confidence value. Again, I'll explain what is that when we take the example. So, 3 things we have seen here are support count, support, and minimum threshold support. Fine. Okay, let me go. 5 more minutes are there. How do you? Suppose we take milk and diaper. I'm taking differently here. You can see the form of rule given that 2 items set milk and diaper is associated with weight. Then X and Y we call it as an item set. Here milk and diaper is 2 item set, where is only 1 item set. So the 2 item set associated with 1 we are going to evaluate how. So, what is support? Fraction of transaction that contains both an X and Y. Please listen. This rule is evaluated by using some metrics, that is support, and very important. So, what do you mean by support? Fraction of transactions that contains both X and Y. Okay? X it should be seen and Y also it should be seen. So that kind of support, the fraction of transaction that contain both X and Y. Please listen, this is very important. And whereas confidence is different, measure of how often items in Y. Listen here, measure of how often items in Y appear in transaction that contain X. What does it mean? Y appear in the transaction that contain X. How many times frequently this Y, this side Y appear in the transaction that contain X? What does it mean? Milk and diaper is already there in the transactions. But you are looking whether this where is also associated. How frequently it occurring? How frequently the Y is occurring? Suppose you assume where is a Y, then you are looking how many times this Y is occurring in the transactions which contain. Students, do you understand what I'm speaking? If not, you can see it here. The example is milk and diaper associated, implies the association of where. You can see that here the support is given by, what does it mean? This symbol? This symbol is what?
Sigma.
I know. See, other is answering this question, isn't it?
Count.
Whatever it is, sigma, I know what it represents. Last slide we have seen, no, what that represents?
Frequency.
Support count or count. Given here, no, it is support count or count. Understood? Okay, understood. So,
Yes.
how many times 3 item sets are there in the transaction? Milk, diaper, we have already seen it is 2 times. So, yes is nothing but out of 4 transactions, how many times these 3 item sets occur? Out of 4, a transaction is 5 transactions. Out of 5, only 2 times it occurs. It is 0.4. So, support is 0.4. What is confidence? Confidence is nothing but, that's what I said, measure of how many times Y appear in the transaction that contain X. Here you can see that. This is Y. Y appear in the transaction contains X. You can see that milk, diaper and beer, 3 items set. But whereas milk, diaper is on this side. So, you have to find the support count of milk, diaper, which from this transaction, milk, diaper 1, then 2, then 3. So 3 times support count of milk, diaper is 3. Whereas Y, how many times X in this, how many times Y appear. We have given milk and diaper is X, that is given here. Y is milk, diaper and beer together. How many times it appears? So it is 2 times divided by 3, 0.67. If you want, I'll explain this slide again. But now I introduce support and confidence, just a measure of association. With these 2 measures only, we are going to formulate the association rule with an example of milk and diaper, and then we are going to see the algorithm, appropriate algorithm. This is an algorithm applied to this particular example and seeing the frequently item set, how many times it frequently items are occurring, and second item set, third item set, fourth item set. Finally, we come to the conclusion that these two item sets are frequently associated. I'm sorry, I have to join this meeting. So, shall I quit now? If you not understand also, no problem. Tomorrow, if you agree, I can take the class. Otherwise, we'll take it in next class. I'll explain the association rule. This is very important. Shall I move? Please don't ask me any question. There is no time for me to explain now. Next class completely I'll tell. I just wanted to introduce what is association, what is support and confidence. Shall I sign off? Students are there?
Yes, yes ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank